The ceremonial blade caught the moonlight wrong. Too sharp, too eager. Knox held it like he wanted to carve his name into my bones instead of just severing a bond that never should have existed in the first place. I, Knox Rivers, reject you, Luca Hayes, as my fated mate. His voice rang clear across the Crescent Ridge pack clearing. 200 wolves stood witness, their eyes glowing amber under the full moon. My brother Noah stood at the edge of the crowd, fists clenched so tight his knuckles had gone white. He'd promised to stay home. Liar. Knox waited, blade gleaming in his hand, eyes locked on mine like he expected me to crumble. Beg, cry, give him the satisfaction of breaking me in front of everyone? Instead, I smiled. Cool. Can we speed this up? I've got a Netflix queue. The crowd shifted. Someone coughed. Knox's jaw tightened, a muscle jumping beneath his skin. You're not even going to fight for us? His voice cracked on the last word, desperation bleeding through the alpha bravado. Fight for what? I kept my tone light, unbothered. You just publicly dumped me in front of 200 people. That ship didn't just sail, Knox. It sank, with fireworks. His face flushed red. You're wolfless. Broken. I deserve better than an Omega who can't even shift. The crowd murmured, a wave of pity and judgment rolling through the clearing. Some looked away. Others stared harder, feeding on the drama like it was premium cable. Then you're free. I spread my hands, mock gracious. Congratulations. Go find yourself a functional Omega. I hear there's a clearance sale on Dignity down at the pack house. That did it. Knox lunged forward and grabbed my wrist, yanking me into the center of the ceremonial circle so hard I stumbled. His fingers dug into bone. We're not done until the bond is severed properly. The elder stepped forward, ancient and grave, holding out a gnarled hand. Knox, the blade returns to me for the ritual. I know the ritual. Knox's voice turned sharp, dangerous. He didn't let go of my wrist. Didn't hand back the blade. That was the first wrong thing. Noah moved. One of the pack enforcers caught him by the arm, holding him back with a low growl. Don't. It's their bond. You interfere, the council gets involved. Knox pressed the blade to my palm, and his eyes met mine. Dark, furious, wounded pride wrapped in cruelty. You could have been perfect, he whispered, low enough that only I could hear. If you weren't so broken. Then he sliced. Deep, vicious. Not the shallow ceremonial nick meant to draw a single drop of blood. He cut me open. Pain exploded white-hot through my hand, racing up my arm like lightning. Blood welled fast, too fast, spilling over my fingers and dripping onto the ancient stone circle beneath my feet. The elder gasped. Knox, what have you? The world stopped. Not metaphorically, not poetically, actually, stopped. The wind died mid-breath. The murmurs cut off like someone yanked the power cord on reality. Knox froze halfway through, pulling the blade back, eyes wide, mouth open. 200 wolves stood suspended in time, trapped mid-gasp, mid-step, mid-breath. Only I could move. My blood hit the stone, and the stone woke up. Red light erupted from the ground, crawling through the cracks in the ancient circle like veins of molten fire. The runes etched into the stone flared bright, drinking my blood, feeding on it. My hand burned. Not from the wound, but from something deeper, older, something that had been sleeping inside me my entire life, waiting for this exact moment. Oh, hell no. My voice sounded too loud in the frozen silence. Not today, Satan. The light didn't care about my commentary. It spread, flooding the clearing, swallowing the frozen wolves in crimson glow. My palm throbbed, the wound sealing itself with threads of red light that stitched skin and muscle back together like I was being rewound. Power surged through me, wild, furious, absolute. My veins lit up beneath my skin, glowing faintly red. The air tasted like copper in ozone. Because I was wolfless. Because I was broken. Because I was never supposed to be anything but this. The light pulsed once, twice, then imploded. Sound crashed back into the world. The wolves gasped, stumbling, eyes blown wide with terror. Knox dropped the blade like it had burned him, staring at me like I'd sprouted horns and started speaking in tongues. What? His voice shook. What the hell are you? I stared at my hand, whole, no scar, no wound, just drying blood and a faint red glow fading from my skin. The stone beneath me still pulsed with crimson light, veins of power threading through the runes. The elder stumbled backward, face bone white. Soul Weaver. The word dropped like a guillotine. Silence. Then chaos. Impossible. They're extinct. He stopped time. Did you see the light? He can't be. Noah shoved past the enforcer and sprinted toward me, but he didn't make it 3 steps. The crowd parted like someone had drawn a line through them with a blade. 3 figures stepped into the clearing. Tall, broad, moving with the kind of authority that made alphas avert their eyes and omegas bare their throats on instinct. Their sense hit me all at once. A tidal wave of power. Black coffee and winter pine, leather and smoke, sage and summer rain. The Blackwood triplets, Adrian, Maverick, Silas, the alpha kings of the Pacific Northwest, the wolves who answered to no council, no pack, no law but their own. Adrian's steel blue eyes locked onto me like a targeting system. His face was unreadable, carved from ice and control. Luca Hayes. Not a question, a confirmation. Maverick's gaze swept the crowd, then landed on Knox. His lip curled in disgust. You cut him on sacred ground. Knox went pale. I didn't know. You didn't think. Silas's voice was soft, almost gentle, but it carved through the clearing like a scalpel. His hazel eyes found mine, and something in his expression shifted. Concern, curiosity, fear. Are you hurt? I held up my unmarked hand. Not anymore. Thanks for asking, though. Very considerate. Adrian stepped closer. The crowd moved back like he carried his own gravitational field. He stopped 3 feet away, studying me with the clinical detachment of a scientist examining a dangerous specimen. You're coming with us. Not a request, not an invitation, a command. Noah pushed forward, shoulders squared. Like hell he is! Maverick moved faster than my eyes could track, stepping between Noah and me with the casual grace of a predator. This isn't your choice, Alpha Hayes. He's my brother, Noah snarled, voice breaking on the last word. And he's dangerous. Adrian's voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. The weight of it pressed down on the entire clearing like atmospheric pressure. The council will want him dead by morning. If he stays here, he dies. If he comes with us. His eyes met mine, unblinking. He might survive. I laughed, couldn't stop it. The sound came out sharp and bitter, edged with hysteria. Survive, right. You mean you'll lock me in a cage until you figure out what I am and how to weaponize it? Adrian didn't deny it. Silas stepped forward, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off him, close enough that his scent wrapped around me like a blanket. We're not your enemies, Luca. You're not my saviors either. His mouth curved, almost sad. No, we're not. Maverick's hand closed around my wrist. Not brutal, but absolutely firm. Inescapable. We're leaving. Now. The world tilted. My vision blurred red at the edges. Power still humming under my skin like a second heartbeat. Restless. Hungry. Wrong. I looked back at Noah. He was fighting 2 enforcers now, shouting my name, voice raw with desperation. I'm sorry, I whispered, knowing he couldn't hear me over the chaos. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed me whole was Knox, still staring at his hands, covered in my blood. Knox realizes too late what he just destroyed. The thought flickered through my mind as consciousness dragged me back up through layers of darkness. My head throbbed. My mouth tasted like copper and regret. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I noticed was the ceiling. Stone. Vaulted. Ancient. Definitely not the water-stained drywall of my apartment. The second thing I noticed was the weight around my wrists. I lifted my hands. Heavy silver cuffs circled both wrists, etched with runes that pulsed faintly blue. Suppression cuffs, the kind designed to choke out a wolf's connection to their animal, their power, their instincts. Joke's on them. I didn't have a wolf to suppress. Except, I flexed my fingers. The memory of red light, of power surging through my veins like wildfire, flickered at the edge of my awareness. My palm was clean. No wound, no scar, just dried blood crusted under my nails. You're awake. I jerked upright so fast the room spun. A figure sat in the corner, backlit by soft lamplight. Warm hazel eyes, soft features that contrasted sharply with the lethal stillness of his posture. Silas, the healer Triplet. "Where am I?" My voice came out rough, scraped raw. "Seattle, Blackwood Fortress." He didn't move from his chair, just watched me with that unnerving calm, like he was waiting for me to explode. "You've been unconscious for 3 hours." 3 hours. Noah would be losing his mind. "I need to call my brother." "No." The word was gentle, absolute. I swung my legs off the bed. The room tilted again, but I ignored it. That wasn't a request. Neither was mine. Silas stood, crossing the space between us with quiet grace. He stopped just out of arm's reach. Smart. "Your brother is being monitored. If you contact him, the council will know where you are within minutes." "Good. Let them come." "They'll kill you, Luca. Then I'll die with a clear conscience instead of rotting in a gilded cage." I held up my wrists, shaking the cuffs. "What are these for? Afraid I'll stop time again?" Spoiler alert, I have no idea how I did that. Silas's expression softened. Sympathy, pity. I hated both. "The cuffs aren't for your power. They're to keep it from killing you." That stopped me cold. "What?" He gestured to the bed. "Sit, please." "I'd rather stand." "You'll fall." "Then I'll fall standing." But my knees chose that moment to betray me, buckling slightly. Silas caught my elbow, steadying me with hands that were warmer than they had any right to be. "Stubborn," he murmured, guiding me back to the edge of the bed. His scent wrapped around me, sage and summer rain, and something in my chest eased without permission. I shoved the feeling down. "If you're waiting for me to thank you for kidnapping me, you're going to be disappointed." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "I'm not expecting gratitude." "Good, because you're not getting any." I leaned back against the headboard, exhaustion crashing over me in waves. "So what am I? Some kind of magical time-stopping freak?" "Soul Weaver." Silas sat on the chair again, giving me space. His eyes never left mine. "You're the first one born in 70 years. The word settled in my chest like a stone. "And what does that mean exactly?" "It means you can forge bonds, break them, manipulate the threads that tie wolves to their mates, their packs, their very souls." He paused. "With your blood." I stared at him. That's the most metal thing anyone's ever said to me, and I still hate it. This time he did smile. Small, fleeting. "I imagine you do. So the cuffs are suppressing the power so it doesn't consume you from the inside." His expression turned grave. "Every time you use it, every time your blood touches another wolf, the bond you create feeds on your life force. Too many bonds and you'll burn out. The last soul weaver bled himself dry, trying to control an entire pack." The weight of that information sat heavy in the silence between us. "So you're saying I'm a walking time bomb?" "I'm saying you're dangerous, to yourself and everyone around you." Silas leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "But you don't have to be. We can teach you control." "We," I laughed, bitter and sharp. "You mean your brothers, the ones who dragged me here against my will, the ones who saved your life." "Saved?" I pushed off the bed, ignoring the way my legs trembled. "You didn't save me. You contained me. There's a difference." Silas stood too, slower, giving me space but blocking the door. "If we'd left you there, the council would have had you executed by dawn. Soul weavers are considered abominations, threats to the natural order." "Maybe I am." "You're not." His voice dropped, soft and certain. "You're terrified and hurt and angry, but you're not a monster." The sincerity in his voice cracked something in my chest. I looked away, focusing on the stone walls, the heavy wooden door, anywhere but those two kind eyes. "Where are your brothers?" "Dealing with the council, buying us time." "Time for what?" "To figure out what to do with you." I turned back to him, meeting his gaze head on. "Here's an idea. Let me go." "Can't do that." "Won't, you mean?" "Both." He stepped closer, and I forced myself not to retreat. "The moment you step outside these walls, every pack in North America will hunt you. The council fears what you represent. Change, choice. The ability to break bonds they consider sacred. Sounds like a them problem. It becomes your problem when they put a bounty on your head. Silas stopped, just inches away, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating off him. You think Nox cutting you was bad? Wait until trained hunters come for you with silver and fire. My hand drifted unconsciously to my palm. Whole, healed, wrong. I didn't ask for this. I know, his voice gentled, but you have it now, and we can help you survive it. Why? The question came out sharper than I intended. Why do you care? Silas was quiet for a long moment. Then slowly, carefully, he reached out and touched the cuff on my left wrist. His fingertips grazed my skin, feather-light. Because the last soul weaver died alone, he said quietly. Hated, hunted, used by people who saw him as a weapon instead of a person. His eyes met mine. I don't want that for you. The sincerity in his voice nearly undid me. I pulled my hand back, breaking the contact. That's a pretty speech. Doesn't change the fact that I'm a prisoner. You're a guest. Guests can leave. Not when leaving means dying. We stared at each other. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken truths. Finally, I exhaled. How long do I have to wear these? I rattled the cuffs. Until we're sure you won't accidentally bond with every wolf in the building. Comforting. It's temporary. Once you learn control. If I learn control. When? Silas's certainty was unshakable. You're stronger than you think, Luca. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe this wasn't just another cage with prettier bars. But the weight of the cuffs reminded me exactly where I was. And who held the keys. The door opened. Maverick stepped inside, all broad shoulders and controlled danger. His storm gray eyes swept the room, landing on me with an intensity that made my skin prickle. Council Zhao owning us, he said, voice low and rough. They want the Soul Weaver handed over by dawn. Silas straightened. What did Adrian say? He told them no. Maverick's mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. They didn't like that. Shocking, I muttered. Maverick's gaze shifted to me. How are you feeling? Like I was kidnapped by 3 overprotective alphas with a hero complex. His almost smile widened. Good. You're still sassy. Means you're not dying. Yet, Silas added quietly. The room went cold. Yet, I repeated, tasting the word. Bitter. Final. Love the optimism. Really inspiring. Maverick crossed his arms, leaning against the doorframe, like he was blocking an exit I hadn't even considered taking. You want honesty or comfort? I want to go home. Not an option. Then I guess we're all disappointed. I pushed off the bed, steadier this time. The cuffs felt heavier with every passing second. So what's the plan? Keep me locked up until the council breaks down your door? The plan, a new voice said from the hallway, sharp and controlled, is to keep you alive long enough to prove you're not a threat. Adrian stepped into the room, and the temperature dropped another few degrees. Steel blue eyes, immaculate suit. The kind of presence that made you want to either bow or run. I did neither. Prove I'm not a threat, I said slowly, by keeping me in chains. That's some impressive logic. The chains are for your protection. Funny, they feel a lot like control. Adrian's expression didn't shift, didn't crack. Control and protection aren't mutually exclusive. They are when I don't get a choice. You had a choice. His voice was ice over stone. Die on sacred ground or come with us. You chose survival. I chose unconsciousness. There's a difference. Silas cleared his throat softly. Adrian, he's been awake less than 10 minutes. And already argumentative, Maverick added, though there was something almost amused in his tone. I like him. That's premature, Adrian said, still watching me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve and didn't particularly want to. We don't know what he's capable of. Neither do I shot back. So we're all in the dark together. Cozy. Before Adrian could respond, an alarm shrieked through the fortress. Sharp, piercing, the kind of sound that meant nothing good. All 3 triplets tensed. Maverick was already moving toward the door. South perimeter, multiple hostiles. How many? Adrian's voice was clipped, efficient. 20, maybe more. Maverick glanced back at me. They're here for him. My stomach dropped. Knox and rogues, Silas confirmed, pulling a phone from his pocket and scanning the screen. His jaw tightened. They breached the outer gate. Adrian's gaze snapped to me. Stay here. Don't move. Don't touch anything. What if they get inside? They won't. But if they do... Maverick stepped closer, storm gray eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that stole the air from my lungs. Then you run. Understand? I wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him I didn't take orders from kidnappers with hero complexes. But the alarm was still screaming, and somewhere below us, glass shattered. Understood, I said quietly. The triplets exchanged a look, some silent conversation I wasn't part of. Then Silas crossed to me, fingers hovering over the cuffs on my wrists. What are you doing? Adrian's voice was sharp. If they get to him, the cuffs make him defenseless. Silas didn't look at his brother, kept his eyes on mine. He needs a fighting chance. He needs to stay contained. He needs to survive. Silas's hands were steady as he touched the runes on the cuffs. They flared blue once, then clicked open. The moment the metal fell away, power slammed into me like a tidal wave. I gasped, stumbling. My veins lit up beneath my skin, glowing faint red. The air tasted electric, alive, wrong, too much, too fast. Silas caught my arm, steadying me. Breathe, focus. Don't let it pull you under. Easy for you to say, I gritted out. My vision swam red at the edges. You're not the one drowning in it. Look at me. His voice cut through the chaos in my head. Luca, look at me. I forced my eyes open, met his. Hazel, warm, steady. Breathe with me, he said softly. In, out. You control it. It doesn't control you. I tried, dragged air into my lungs, pushed it out. Again, slower. The red glow faded, pulling back beneath my skin like a tide retreating. Good, Silas murmured. That's good. Another crash, closer this time. Voices shouting, snarling. Maverick swore. They're inside. Adrian moved toward the door, every line of his body coiled for violence. Silas, stay with him. Maverick, with me. Like hell, Maverick growled. You're not leaving him alone. He won't be alone. Silas can't fight 20 wolves by himself. Maverick's voice was flat. Final. We go together or not at all. The sound of footsteps pounding up the stairs made the decision for them. Adrian's eyes cut to Silas. Keep him alive. Then both he and Maverick were gone, moving with the lethal grace of predators built for war. Silas locked the door behind them, turned to me. How do you feel? Like I'm about to throw up or set something on fire. Possibly both. That's normal. Nothing about this is normal. He almost smiled. Then the door shook. Something heavy slammed against it from the other side. They're here, I whispered. Silas moved in front of me, positioning himself between me and the door. Stay behind me. I'm not hiding behind you. Luca! The door exploded inward. 3 wolves poured through the splintered wood. Rogues, eyes wild, scent sour with desperation and bloodlust. Behind them, Knox stepped into the room, blade still in his hand, still stained with my blood. There you are, Knox said, voice rough. I've been looking everywhere. Restraining order wasn't clear enough? I kept my voice light, but my heart was trying to punch through my ribs. Knox ignored me, his eyes locked on Silas. Move. No. I don't want to hurt you. I just want what's mine. He's not yours, Silas said quietly, dangerously. You gave up that right when you cut him. I didn't know what he was. Knox's voice cracked. I didn't know. And now that you do? I stepped around Silas, ignoring his sharp inhale of protest. Now that you know I'm valuable, you want me back? That's not how this works, Knox. You don't understand. He moved closer. The rogues flanked him, growling low. If they find out what you can do, they'll use you. They'll break you. And you won't? His silence was answer enough. One of the rogues lunged. Silas moved faster, intercepting with a snarl that rattled the walls. They collided in a tangle of claws and teeth. The other 2 rogues split, one going for Silas, the other coming straight at me. Knox grabbed my wrist, the one he'd cut. His touch burned, and my power exploded. Red light erupted from my hand where his skin met mine. Knox screamed, trying to pull back, but the light wrapped around him like chains. Around all of them. The rogues. Silas. No, I gasped. No, stop. But it didn't stop. The power poured out of me, wild and hungry, seeking connection, forging bonds. I felt them snap into place one by one. 3 threads tying the rogues to me, binding them, claiming them. The light faded. The rogues collapsed, gasping. Knox stumbled back, staring at me with wide, horrified eyes. "What did you do?" he whispered. I looked down at my hands, glowing faint red, trembling. "I don't know," I breathed. Silas pushed himself upright, blood streaking his jaw. His eyes met mine. Not anger, not fear, sadness. "You claimed them," he said quietly. The words hit like a punch. I looked at the 3 rogues on the floor. They were staring at me, not with hate, with devotion. "No," my voice broke. "I didn't mean to. I don't want—" "It's done." Silas moved toward me slowly. "The bond is permanent." Knox back toward the door, shaking his head. "You're a monster." Then he ran. I sank to my knees, staring at the 3 wolves who now belonged to me, who I'd stolen from themselves without meaning to. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." One of them, a young wolf with amber eyes, crawled closer, pressed his forehead to my knee. "Don't be," he said, voice rough. "You saved us." But I didn't feel like a savior. I felt like exactly what Knox had called me, a monster. The wolf with amber eyes was still pressed against my knee, trembling, not from fear, from relief. Like I'd set him free instead of chaining him to me forever. "Saved us from what?" My voice came out hollow, distant. "I just stole your choice." "You gave us purpose," another one said. Female, dark hair, eyes like molten gold. "We were rogues, packless, dying slowly. Now we're yours." "I don't want you to be mine." The words tasted bitter. True. I don't want to own anyone. Silas crouched beside me, careful not to touch. His scent wrapped around me. Anyway, sage and summer rain, trying to soothe the jagged edges of my panic. "It's not ownership, Luca. It's connection. Connection implies consent." I looked at the 3 wolves. "Did any of you consent to this?" Silence. Then the amber-eyed wolf lifted his head. "Would it matter? We're bound now. What's done is done." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I have." He sat back, studying me with unsettling intensity. "My name is Ethan. That's Mara." He nodded to the dark-haired female. "And that's Cyrus." The 3rd wolf, broad-shouldered and scarred, inclined his head slightly. "Hi," I said weakly. "Sorry I magically enslaved you." Mara's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "You're the weirdest soul weaver I've ever heard of." "How many have you heard of?" "One. You." "Great. Setting a low bar for the species." Footsteps pounded up the stairs. I tensed, power flickering under my skin. But it was just Adrian and Maverick, both bloodied, both alive. Adrian's eyes swept the room, landing on the 3 rogues, then on me. His expression went carefully blank. "What happened?" "I happened," I said flatly. "Apparently I'm a walking bonding machine. Very on brand for my life." Maverick crossed to Silas, checking him over with hands that were surprisingly gentle for someone who looked like he solved problems with violence. "You hurt?" "Scratches." Silas caught his wrist. "I'm fine." "You're bleeding." "So are you." They stared at each other, some silent conversation written in the space between them. Then Maverick exhaled and stepped back, gaze shifting to me. "How many did you claim?" "3. The word felt like gravel in my throat. "I didn't mean to. Knox grabbed me and it just happened." "Knox ran," Adrian said. Not a question, a statement. "Wouldn't you? If you watched someone accidentally steal 3 souls?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "We need to move. Now. Knox will report what he saw to the council. They'll accelerate the timeline." "Timeline for what?" But I already knew, could taste it in the air, metallic and cold. "Your execution." The word dropped like a stone into still water. Ripples of silence spread through the room. "Cool," I said, voice too bright. "Love that from me." Really great evening so far. Maverick almost smiled. You're taking this well. I'm having a breakdown. This is just what it looks like on me. Silas stood, offering me his hand. I took it, let him pull me to my feet. My legs felt like water, but I locked my knees and forced myself steady. What about them? I nodded to Ethan, Mara, and Cyrus. The council's going to want them dead too, right? Because they're tied to me? Adrian's silence was answer enough. Perfect. I laughed, sharp and bitter. So my superpower is getting people killed. Fantastic. Really winning at life. Stop. Silas's voice was quiet but firm. His hand was still in mine, warm and steady. This isn't your fault. Tell that to them. We will, Mara said. She stood, brushing dust off her jeans. When they try to execute us, we'll tell them exactly whose fault it is. I blinked. You're joking, right? Do I look like I'm joking? She crossed her arms. You think I'm afraid of the council? I've been running from them for 3 years. At least now I've got backup. Ethan rose too, amber eyes bright. She's right. We're not going anywhere. You should. My voice cracked. I'm not worth dying for. That's not your call to make, Cyrus said. First time he'd spoken, his voice was low, gravelly, final. Adrian's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression darkening. They've summoned us. Dawn, council chambers. That's in 4 hours, Silas said. I'm aware, Maverick swore under his breath. They're not even pretending this is a trial. It's an execution with paperwork. Unless we give them what they want. Adrian's eyes cut to me, cold, calculating. A demonstration. My stomach dropped. What kind of demonstration? Proof that you can control your power, that you're not a threat. He paused. They'll put you in a room with 12 vulnerable wolves, injured, weak, bleeding. If you can resist claiming them for 1 hour, they'll grant asylum. The air left my lungs. And if I can't, then they'll execute you at sunrise. Silence, heavy, suffocating. That's insane, I breathed. I can't even control it for 5 minutes. You saw what just happened. Which is why we have 4 hours to teach you. Silas squeezed my hand gently. It's possible, Luca. Difficult, but possible. Difficult, I repeated. You mean suicidal. I mean necessary. Adrian stepped closer. His presence was overwhelming, all cold authority and absolute certainty. You survive this or you die. Those are your options. Love the motivational speech. Very inspiring. His expression didn't shift. I don't need to inspire you. I need you alive. Why? The question burst out before I could stop it. Why do you care? You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. For a moment, something flickered in Adrian's eyes. Too fast to name. Then it was gone, buried under ice and control. Because soul weavers are born once in a lifetime, he said quietly, and the world can't afford to lose another one. It wasn't the answer I wanted, but it was the truth. Maverick moved to the door. We need to prepare. Silas, get him cleaned up and fed. Adrian, contact our people at the council. I'll secure the perimeter. Wait. I pulled my hand free from Silas's. What about Noah, my brother? Is he safe? The triplets exchanged a look. He's being watched, Adrian said carefully. As long as you're cooperative, he won't be harmed. The unspoken threat hung in the air between us. Cooperate or your brother dies. You're holding him hostage, I said flatly. We're ensuring your motivation. Adrian's voice was arctic. Don't pretend you wouldn't run if you thought you could save him by doing it. He was right. I hated that he was right. Fine. I lifted my chin. I'll do your impossible test. I'll sit in a room with 12 bleeding wolves and try not to accidentally enslave them. And when I fail, because I will fail, you can tell Noah I died trying to be something I'm not. Silas flinched. Maverick's jaw tightened. Adrian's expression didn't change. You won't fail. You don't know that. I do. He stepped closer, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to hold his gaze. Because failure isn't an option, not for you, not for any of us. The weight of his certainty pressed down on me like gravity. No pressure, I muttered. Exactly. Adrian turned toward the door. Silas, 4 hours. Make them count. Then he was gone. Maverick followed, throwing one last unreadable look over his shoulder. The door clicked shut. I stood in the wreckage of the room with Silas, 3 accidentally claimed wolves, and the growing certainty that I was going to die at dawn. "So," I said into the silence, "anyone know any good last meal recommendations?" Silas's mouth curved. Sad. Fond. "You're not going to die." "You keep saying that. Doesn't make it true." "It will be." He moved toward me, slow and careful, like approaching a spooked animal. "Because I'm going to help you, and you're stronger than you think." "I'm really not." "You are." His hand lifted, hesitating near my face. "May I?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. His palm cupped my cheek, warm and solid. "Real." 4 hours, he said softly. "That's all we need. 4 hours to teach you that your power doesn't own you." His thumb brushed just beneath my eye, catching a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. "You own it." I wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly it hurt. "What if I can't?" I whispered. "Then I'll be there with you." His eyes held mine. Hazel, steady, unshakable. "You won't face this alone." The certainty in his voice cracked something in my chest. "Okay," I breathed. "Okay, teach me." His smile was small, genuine. "Let's begin." Silas stepped back, giving me space but staying close enough that his scent wrapped around me like armor. Ethan, Mara, and Cyrus had retreated to the corners of the room, watching with the kind of silent intensity that made my skin prickle. "First rule," Silas said, "your power responds to emotion, fear, anger, desperation. The stronger the emotion, the harder it is to control. So I just need to be calm while sitting in a room with 12 bleeding wolves and a death sentence hanging over my head." I crossed my arms. "Piece of cake." "I didn't say it would be easy." "You didn't say it would be impossible either, but here we are." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Close your eyes." "Why?" "Because I'm asking you to trust me." I stared at him. Trust. The word felt foreign, sharp-edged, but his eyes were steady, patient, and something in my chest ached with the need to believe him. I closed my eyes. "Good." His voice was closer now, softer. "Feel the power inside you. Don't push it down. Don't fight it. Just feel it." I tried, focused inward. The power was there, coiled beneath my skin like a second heartbeat, red and restless and hungry. "It wants to connect," I whispered. "It's pulling at me." "Let it pull. But don't let it control you." His hand found mine, fingers threading through mine with careful warmth. "You're the anchor, not the tide." His touch steadied something inside me. The power eased just slightly. Still there, still hungry, but less frantic. "How long did it take you to learn control?" I asked, eyes still closed. "I'm a healer. My power wants to fix things. Yours wants to bind them." He paused. "They're not the same." "That's not comforting." "I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to save your life." I opened my eyes. He was closer than I'd expected, close enough that I could see flecks of gold in his hazel irises. "What if I can't do this?" "Then we'll find another way." "There is no other way. Adrian made that clear." "Adrian's not always right." Silas's thumb brushed over my knuckles, gentle, grounding. "And he's terrified, even if he won't admit it." That caught me off guard. "Terrified of what?" "Losing you." The words hung between us, too big and too raw. "He doesn't even know me." "He knows what you represent. Change, hope, the possibility that bonds don't have to be chains." Silas's gaze held mine. "We've spent 70 years believing soul weavers were extinct, that the old ways were gone forever, and then you bled on sacred ground and proved us all wrong. Lucky me. Lucky us." His hand tightened around mine. "Now focus. We have 3 hours left." 3 hours. The words sat heavy in my chest. We worked in silence after that, Silas guiding me through breathing exercises, teaching me to separate my emotions from the power's pull. Ethan brought water. Mara found clean clothes. Cyrus stood watch by the door, silent and solid. They moved around me like I was fragile, breakable. I hated it, but I didn't have the energy to fight it. By the time Adrian returned, I could hold the power steady for almost 10 minutes before it started clawing at my control. 10 minutes, not an hour, not even close. Adrian's expression was unreadable as he surveyed the room. It's time. My stomach dropped. Already. The council moved the timeline. They want you in chambers now. Of course they do. I stood, legs shaking. Silas's hand slipped from mine, and the absence felt like cold water. Because why give me a fighting chance when they can just kill me faster? They're afraid, Maverick said from the doorway. He looked like he'd been through a war, blood on his knuckles, exhaustion in his eyes. Knox told them what you did. They know you can claim wolves without meaning to. That makes you the most dangerous thing in North America. I didn't ask to be dangerous. Doesn't matter. Adrian's voice was flat, final. What matters is survival. Can you do this? I wanted to say yes, wanted to be brave and certain and strong, but I'd never been good at lying. I don't know. Adrian's jaw tightened. Then we're out of time. The council chambers were everything I'd expected. Cold stone, vaulted ceilings, rows of wolves in formal robes sitting in judgment, like this was a courthouse and not an execution, dressed up as due process. Mira Ashford sat at the center, silver hair pulled back severe and tight. Her eyes landed on me with the weight of a death sentence. Luca Hayes, her voice echoed through the chamber. You stand accused of unsanctioned bonding, of wielding soul weaver power without training or oversight. How do you plead? Guilty of being born wrong, apparently. The words came out sharper than I'd intended. Does that count? Murmurs rippled through the council. Mira's expression didn't change. The test will proceed as agreed. 1 hour, 12 wolves. If you claim even one, the sentence is death. And if I don't, then you will be granted asylum under Blackwood protection. She paused. Provided you submit to council monitoring for the remainder of your natural life. So, a cage either way. What if I just leave? I asked. Walk out, disappear, save everyone the trouble. Then your brother dies. The room went silent. I stared at her. You're holding my brother hostage. We're ensuring compliance. Mira's smile was cold, precise. Cooperation benefits everyone, Mr. Hayes. Rage flared hot and vicious in my chest. The power surged, responding to the emotion. My hands glowed faint red. Silas's hand found my shoulder, grounding. Breathe. I forced air into my lungs, forced the power down. It fought me, clawing and desperate, but I shoved it back beneath my skin. Mira's eyes tracked the glow. Impressive control. For now. She gestured. A door opened on the far side of the chamber. 12 wolves filed in, young, injured, bandages soaked with fresh blood. My stomach turned. The timer begins now, Mira said, and the door slammed shut behind me. The room was small, too small. The scent of blood hit me like a physical force, thick and cloying and wrong. The 12 wolves stood in a semicircle, watching me with eyes that ranged from terrified to resigned. One of them, a girl who couldn't have been older than 19, swayed on her feet. Blood dripped from a wound on her arm. My power lunged. I gasped, stumbling back against the wall. Red light flickered under my skin. The pull was immediate, vicious, demanding. Connect, bond, claim. No, I gritted out. Not happening. But the girl collapsed. Instinct overrode thought. I lurched forward, catching her before she hit the ground. Her blood smeared across my hands. The bond snapped into place like a trap closing. Red light exploded from my palms, wrapping around her, sinking into her skin. She gasped, eyes going wide. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. But it was done. I'd claimed her. One wolf, one failure. I looked up at the two-way glass where I knew the council was watching. Mira's voice echoed through a speaker. Test failed. Execution will proceed at dawn. The girl in my arms stared up at me, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. I didn't understand. Didn't have time to. The door burst open. Guards poured in. Silas fought his way through them, eyes wild. Luca! But they grabbed me, yanking me away from the girl, away from Silas, dragging me toward the door. Wait, I shouted. She was dying. I had to. You failed, Mira said, cold, final. The sentence stands. Adrian's voice cut through the chaos. The test was rigged. The chamber went silent. He stood, steel blue eyes locked on Mira. The girl was poisoned. Her wound was intentionally kept open. You ensured he would fail. Mira's expression didn't shift. Prove it. I will. Adrian's voice was ice. And when I do, the entire council will answer for it. But the guards were already dragging me out. The last thing I saw was Silas, held back by Maverick, mouth forming my name. Then the door closed, and I was alone. The cell was smaller than my bedroom back home. Stone walls, iron bars, a single cot that looked like it had seen better decades. No windows, just a flickering fluorescent light that buzzed like a dying insect. The guards shoved me inside and slammed the door. The lock clicked with a finality that made my chest tighten. I stood there for a moment, breathing hard, trying to process what had just happened. Rigged. The test was rigged. Of course it was. I laughed. The sound came out broken, edged with hysteria. Stupid. So stupid. I pressed my palms against my eyes. You actually thought they'd give you a fair shot. My hands were still stained with her blood, the girl I'd claimed. I could feel the bond humming at the edge of my awareness, fragile and new. She was scared, confused, alive. Because of me, or in spite of me. I couldn't tell anymore. I sank onto the cot. The mattress was thin, lumpy, probably older than I was. My body ached. Exhaustion pulled at me like gravity. But my mind wouldn't stop racing. Adrian's voice echoed in my head. The test was rigged. He'd stood up for me. Challenged the council. For what? To buy me a few more hours? A day? It didn't matter. The sentence was already passed. Execution at dawn. I tilted my head back against the cold stone wall and closed my eyes. Noah, I whispered into the silence. I'm sorry. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Soft. Deliberate. I didn't open my eyes. If you're here to gloat, Mira, save it. I'm too tired for your villain monologue. Not Mira. My eyes snapped open. Silas stood on the other side of the bars holding a small medical kit. His face was pale, jaw tight, blood still streaked. His collar from earlier. How did you get down here? I pushed off the cot, crossing to the bars. They'll kill you if they catch you. Let them try. His voice was quiet, steady. He unlocked the cell door with a key I didn't ask where he'd gotten and stepped inside. The door stayed open behind him. You could run, he said softly, setting the kit on the cot. Right now. I'd tell them you overpowered me. I stared at him. And Noah? His expression fractured. Just for a second. I know. Then you know I can't leave. I looked at the open door. Freedom. 3 steps away. Might as well have been on another planet. They'll kill him the second I'm gone. I know, Silas repeated. He moved closer, stopping just within arm's reach. Let me see your hands. I'm fine. Luca. The way he said my name, soft and aching, broke something in me. I held out my hands. Still shaking, still stained. Silas took them, gently, examining the dried blood. You saved her life. I claimed her against her will. That's not saving, that's stealing. She was dying, poisoned. You felt it, didn't you, when you touched her? I had, the wrongness in her blood, the way her heartbeat stuttered. Doesn't make it right. It makes it human. He pulled a cloth from the kit and dampened it with water from a small flask. Then carefully he began wiping the blood from my hands. His touch was warm, gentle. You're not a monster, Luca, no matter what they tell you. Knox seemed pretty convinced. Knox is an idiot who rejected his fated mate because he was too insecure to handle an Omega who didn't need him. Silas's voice held an edge I hadn't heard before. Sharp, protective. His opinion doesn't matter. The council's does. The council is corrupt. Adrian's proving it right now. I pulled one hand free, cupping his jaw before I could think better of it. He went still, eyes widening slightly. Even if he proves it, they won't let me live. I'm too dangerous, too unpredictable. You're not. His hand came up, covering mine, keeping it there. You've claimed 4 wolves in 2 days, and every single one of them is alive. Grateful. That's not dangerous. That's miraculous. Or cursed. Or both. His thumb brushed over my knuckles. The last soul weaver wasn't like you. What was he like? Silas's gaze dropped. Desperate, broken. He claimed an entire pack in one night. 300 wolves. Tried to create paradise through control. His voice went soft, sad. But forced bonds don't create loyalty. They create resentment. Within a month, the wolves he'd claimed started dying. The bonds were killing them, draining their life force to sustain his power. My stomach turned. What happened to him? He bled out, alone, surrounded by the corpses of the people he'd tried to save. Silas's eyes met mine. That's what Mira's afraid of. That's why she wants you dead. She was there. She saw what he became. The pieces clicked into place. She was one of them, one of the claimed. For 30 years, his voice was barely a whisper, until he died and the bonds broke. But the damage was done. She spent every day since making sure another soul weaver never exists. Then I'm already dead. No. Silas's hand tightened around mine. You're nothing like him. You fight the bonds. You hate what they represent. That's the difference. Hating it doesn't change what I am. It changes everything. He stepped closer, close enough that I could count his heartbeats. Choice, Luca. That's what makes you different. He chose control. You chose compassion. I chose to save one girl and doom myself in the process. You chose her life over your freedom. That's not a mistake. That's sacrifice. When his other hand came up, cradling my face. And I won't let them kill you for it. You can't stop them. Watch me. The certainty in his voice was devastating. I wanted to believe him. Wanted it so badly my chest ached. Why? The question came out broken. Raw. Why do you care so much? Silas's expression softened. His thumb traced my cheekbone, achingly gentle. Because the world doesn't deserve to lose you before it even knows what you could become. My breath caught. He leaned closer, forehead almost touching mine. And because I've seen what you are when no one's watching, kind, brave, selfless to the point of stupidity. Hey, his mouth curved. It's a compliment. Terrible compliment. I stand by it. His eyes searched mine. You're not going to die at dawn, Luca. I promise you that. You can't promise that. I just did. Before I could argue, before I could tell, him promises like that were cruel. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Multiple sets. Fast. Silas pulled back, instantly alert. Stay behind me. Silas, if they find you here, I don't care. The guards appeared. 3 of them, eyes cold, weapons drawn. Step away from the prisoner, the lead guard ordered. Silas didn't move. No, that wasn't a request. Neither was mine. The tension in the hallway ratcheted up, sharp and dangerous. My powers stirred, responding to the threat. Red light flickered beneath my skin. Then a new voice cut through the standoff. Stand down. Adrian stepped into view, Maverick at his side. Both looked like they'd been through hell, but Adrian's eyes were bright, victorious. We have proof, he said. The council's corruption, Mira's manipulation, all of it. Hope flared in my chest, painful and desperate. You found it? Better. Adrian's gaze shifted to me. We found a witness, someone who was there when Mira poisoned the girl, someone the council can't ignore. Who? Maverick smiled, sharp, dangerous. Your brother. The world tilted. Noah, my voice cracked. He's here? Waiting upstairs, Adrian confirmed. And he's ready to testify. My knees nearly buckled. He's alive. Very, Maverick's smile widened. And extremely pissed off. I like him. Relief hit me so hard I had to grab the bars to stay upright. Silas's hand found the small of my back, steadying me without a word. How? My voice shook. They said they were holding him, that if I ran, they were bluffing. Adrian's expression was carved from ice and fury. Mira had him under surveillance, but she never had custody. He's been gathering evidence since the moment we took you. Evidence of what? Everything. Adrian pulled a tablet from his coat and held it up. Security footage played across on my screen. Mira, in a darkened hallway, handing a vial to one of the guards. The same guard who'd escorted the injured girl into the testing room. She poisoned that girl herself, kept the wound from healing, ensured you'd fail. The footage continued. Audio now. Mira's voice, cold and clinical. Make sure the Omega can't resist. I want him dead by morning. My stomach turned. She wanted me to claim her. Wanted proof I was dangerous. She wanted you dead, Silas corrected quietly. This was an execution dressed up as justice. Adrian closed the tablet. We're presenting this to the full council. Now. They won't care. The words tasted bitter. True. Half of them probably helped her. Maybe. Adrian's eyes met mine. But the other half will, and your brother's testimony will force their hand. What if it's not enough? Then we fight. Maverick's voice was casual. Easy, like he was discussing the weather, and not a potential war with the most powerful wolves in North America. But I'm betting it won't come to that. You're betting my life on it. No. Adrian stepped closer to the bars. I'm betting on the fact that the council fears chaos more than they fear you. Mira acted without consensus. That's a violation of their most sacred law. They'll throw her to the wolves to save themselves. Poetic, I muttered. Practical, Adrian corrected. He nodded to the guards who were still standing frozen in the hallway, clearly unsure whose orders to follow. Open it. The lead guard hesitated. Sir, the prisoner is sentenced to... The prisoner is under Blackwood protection. You want to challenge that? Take it up with the full council. Adrian's voice could have frozen fire. Open the door. The guard unlocked it. Silas's hand stayed on my back as we moved into the hallway. Grounding. Protective. I wanted to lean into it, but pride kept my spine straight. Where's Noah? I asked. Council antechamber. Adrian led us through a maze of stone corridors. He refused to leave until he saw you. My chest tightened. He shouldn't be here. It's not safe. He knows. He came anyway. Maverick glanced back at me. Stubborn runs in your family, apparently. Observant of you. His grin flashed. I'm more than a pretty face. Debatable. Silas made a sound that might have been a laugh. We climbed a narrow staircase, emerged into a wider hallway lined with arched windows. Dawn light bled through the glass, pale and cold. My execution time. Right on schedule. The antechamber doors stood open. Inside, Noah paced like a caged wolf. The moment he saw me, he stopped. For a heartbeat, we just stared at each other. Then he crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled me into a crushing hug. You idiot, he choked out. You absolute idiot. Missed you, too, I mumbled against his shoulder. He smelled like home, like safety, like everything I thought I'd lost. I thought they killed you. His voice cracked. When they dragged you out of that chamber, I thought, I'm okay. The lie came easy, familiar. I'm fine. He pulled back, hands gripping my shoulders. His eyes were red-rimmed, furious. You're not fine. You're about to be executed for saving someone's life. Technically, for failing a rigged test. That's not funny. Little bit funny. Luca. His voice broke on my name. I softened. I know. I'm sorry. For all of it. Don't apologize. He shook me slightly. None of this is your fault. You hear me? None of it. Knox would disagree. Knox is a coward who doesn't deserve to breathe your air. Noah's grip tightened. And when this is over, I'm going to make sure he knows it. When this is over, I'll probably be dead. You won't. The certainty in his voice was absolute, unshakable. Because I'm going to stand in front of that council and tell them exactly what Mira did, and they're going to let you go. Noah. No arguments. He glanced at Adrian. We're ready. Adrian inclined his head. Then let's end this. The council chamber was packed, every seat filled, wolves standing in the aisles. The air was thick with tension, scent, and barely concealed fear. Mira sat in her usual spot, expression serene, untouchable, until Adrian played the footage. The room went silent, deathly. I watched Mira's face as her own voice filled the chamber, cold and damning. Watched the moment she realized she'd been caught. Her composure didn't crack, but her scent soured, bitter with fury. Fabricated, she said calmly when the footage ended. Clearly doctored. The Blackwoods are desperate to save their pet Omega. Pet? I called out before anyone could. Stop me. That's the best you've got. I've been called worse by better people. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A few wolves actually smiled. Mira's eyes cut to me. Cold, lethal. You should be silent, abomination. You've already sealed your fate. Funny, I was about to say the same thing to you. Noah stepped forward. I was there. I saw the guard deliver the poison. Saw Mira give the order. His voice rang clear, unwavering. She manipulated the test. Tried to murder my brother under the guise of justice. You're his brother, Mira said dismissively. Your testimony is biased. Then let's ask the girl. Silas's voice cut through the room. He gestured to the door. The girl I'd claimed entered, flanked by two healers. She was pale but steady, alive. She looked directly at Mira. You poisoned me. Told me it was a sedative, that it would help me stay calm during the test. Her voice shook but didn't break. Instead, it kept my wound open, made me bleed, made me weak. Why would I do that? Mira's tone was perfectly reasonable, perfectly cold. Because you wanted him to fail. The girl's eyes found mine. But he didn't. He saved me, even knowing it would cost him everything. The chamber erupted, voices overlapping, arguments, accusations. One of the senior council members stood. Mira Ashford, these are serious charges, based on questionable evidence and emotional testimony. Mira's voice didn't waver. I've served this council for 30 years. My record speaks for itself. So does this footage, Adrian said, and the medical report showing the poison in her system, a poison only accessible to senior council members. Mira's jaw tightened. You have no proof I administered it. Actually, a new voice said from the back of the chamber. We do. The guard from the footage stepped forward, young, terrified, but standing tall. She ordered me to poison the girl, threatened my family if I didn't comply. His voice shook. I'm sorry. I should have refused, but I have a daughter. I couldn't. Lies, Mira hissed. But her composure was cracking now, fractures showing in the ice. The senior council member looked at her. Do you deny giving the order? Silence. Then slowly, Mira stood. I did what was necessary. Soul weavers are abominations. History proves it. I acted to protect us all. You acted alone, the council member said, without consensus, without law. Because the law is broken. Mira's voice rose, sharp and desperate. You're all so afraid of change. You can't see the danger standing right in front of you. She pointed at me. He'll destroy everything, just like the last one. I'm not him, I said quietly. She laughed, bitter, broken. You don't understand. You can't. I was his. For 30 years, claimed, controlled, a puppet with no will of my own. Her voice cracked. And when he died, when the bond finally broke, I swore I'd never let it happen again. Never let another soul weaver exist. The room went still. Silas stepped forward. Then let me set you free. Mira's eyes snapped to him. What? Luca can sever bonds, Silas said. He's done it before. If you're still carrying the scar of that claim, he can remove it. Give you the freedom you never had. That's impossible. No. I moved forward, ignoring the guards who tensed. It's not. I've released every wolf I've claimed, given them the choice to stay or go. I stopped in front of her. Let me do the same for you. Her expression twisted. Pain, hope, disbelief. Why would you help me? I tried to kill you. Because you're right. No one should be claimed against their will. Not even you. I held out my hand. Let me prove I'm not him. That choice matters, more than control. For a long moment, she just stared at my hand. Then slowly she took it. Power surged, not to claim, to sever. I felt the bond. Old, rotted, buried so deep in her soul it had become part of her. I pulled at it, carefully, unraveling 30 years of stolen choice. Mira gasped. Her knees buckled. I caught her, holding her steady as the bond dissolved. When I let go, she collapsed into her chair, tears streaming down her face. It's gone, she whispered. After all this time, it's finally gone. The chamber was silent. The senior council member cleared his throat. In light of this evidence, Mira Ashford is removed from her position and will face trial for her actions. He looked at me. Luca Hayes, the council grants you asylum. You are free. Free. The word didn't feel real. Noah grabbed me, pulling me into another crushing hug. Silas's hand found my shoulder. Maverick grinned. Adrian's expression was unreadable, but something in his eyes softened. I looked at Mira, still crying, still broken, but free. "Thank you," she whispered. I nodded, didn't trust my voice. "Come on," Noah said, "let's get you out of here." We walked out of the council chamber together, into the dawn. The light hit my face, pale and cold. I stopped just outside the council building, breathing in air that tasted like freedom and uncertainty in equal measure. Noah's arm was still around my shoulders, protective, grounding. "You okay? Ask me in a week." I glanced back at the building. Or a year. Haven't decided which. "Fair." Silas appeared at my other side, silent and steady. Maverick and Adrian flanked us like sentries. We must have looked ridiculous. A protective circle around one exhausted Omega who just wanted to sleep for 3 days straight. "What now?" I asked. "Do I just go home? Pretend none of this happened?" "You could," Adrian said, "but you'd be lying to yourself." "I'm good at that." His mouth almost twitched. Almost. "The council granted you asylum, not anonymity. Every pack in North America knows what you are now, what you can do. So I'm famous. Great. Always wanted to be a celebrity. This is exactly how I pictured it." "You're a symbol," Silas corrected gently, "of change, of choice. Some will see that as hope. And others, threat," Maverick finished. His eyes scanned the street beyond the council grounds. Alert, watchful. "Which is why you're staying with us until things settle." Define settle. "When people stop trying to kill you." "So never." "Probably," I laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound came out slightly unhinged. "This is my life now. Running from people who want me dead while living with 3 overprotective alphas who may or may not be holding me captive for my own good." "We're not holding you captive," Adrian said. "You're also not letting me leave. Those are different things." "Not from where I'm standing." A howl cut through the morning air. Long, mournful, wrong. All 3 triplets went rigid. "That's not one of ours," Maverick said quietly. Another howl joined the first, then another, a chorus rising from the woods beyond the city. Noah's grip on my shoulder tightened. "How many?" "Too many." Adrian pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. His expression darkened. "We have a problem." "Just one?" I tried for levity, failed. "Rogue army, 200 strong, moving toward the city." He looked at me. "They're here for you." My stomach dropped. "Me? Why?" "Because you represent everything they hate." Silas's voice was grim. "Forced bonds, hierarchy, the idea that fate gets to decide who you belong to. But I free people from bonds. I don't force them. They don't know that. All they know is that a soul weaver exists. And the last one tried to enslave them all." Adrian pocketed his phone. "We need to move. Now." "Where?" "Somewhere defensible." "The fortress?" "No." The word came out before I could think it through. Everyone turned to look at me. "No?" Adrian's tone was dangerous. "Care to elaborate?" "Running makes me look guilty, like I'm everything they think I am." I pulled away from Noah, standing on my own. "I'm not hiding from them." "Luca," Silas started, voice careful, concerned. "There are 200 of them." "I know. And one of you." "I know that too." "Then you know this is suicide." "Maybe." I met his eyes. "Or maybe it's the only way to prove I'm not the monster they think I am." Noah grabbed my arm. "Absolutely not. I didn't just save your life so you could throw it away on some suicidal peace mission. It's not suicidal if I don't plan on dying. That's literally the definition of suicidal." "Semantics." Maverick stepped between us. "The kid's got a point." "Which kid?" Noah snapped. "Yours." Maverick's gaze cut to me. "You walk out there alone, unarmed, and offer them the same choice you gave Mira, freedom over fear." "That's insane," Noah said. "It's brilliant," Adrian countered quietly. All eyes turned to him. They're expecting a fight, expecting us to meet violence with violence. If Luca goes out there alone, it changes the entire narrative. "It also gets him killed," Noah shot back. "Not if we're there as backup." Silas looked at me. "You talk. We protect. If it goes wrong, we pull you out. And if it goes right, then you just change the world." The weight of that settled in my chest. Heavy, terrifying, possible. I don't have a speech prepared, I said. No inspiring words. I'm just a broke Omega who accidentally started a revolution while trying not to die. That's exactly why it'll work, Adrian said. You're real, human, not some untouchable figure. That's what they need to see. Another howl. Closer now. We're out of time, Maverick said. Decision, now. I looked at Noah, at the fear in his eyes, the love. I have to do this. I know. His voice cracked. Doesn't mean I like it. You can hate it. Just don't stop me. He pulled me into a quick, fierce hug. If you die, I'm going to be so mad at you. Noted. He let go, stepped back. I turned to the triplets. How do we do this? We walk, Adrian said simply. Straight toward them. You in front, us behind. And when they attack, they won't. Silas's certainty was unnerving. Not if you give them a reason not to. No pressure. His hand found mine, squeezed gently. You've got this. I wanted to believe him. We walked through the city streets toward the woods, toward the howling. People scattered as we passed, watched from windows, whispered. The rogue army waited at the forest edge. 200 wolves, eyes gleaming, teeth bared, ready for war. Their leader stepped forward, tall, scarred, alpha written in every line of his body. Soul Weaver, he called out. Not a greeting, an accusation. I stopped 10 feet away, felt the triplets form a wall behind me. Protective, lethal. That's me, I said, kept my voice steady. Though I prefer Luca. Less formal. You think this is a joke? I think this is a tragedy. I spread my hands. Empty. Harmless. You came here to kill me because you're afraid I'll do to you what the last Soul Weaver did. Force you into bonds you don't want. Steal your choices, your freedom. Silence. Tense. Waiting. I'm not him, I continued. I've spent the last 2 days accidentally claiming wolves and immediately setting them free. Giving them the choice he never did. The choice no one gives. Words, the leader spat. Easy to say. You're right. I took a step forward. Maverick growled low. I ignored him. So here's my offer. I'll prove it. Right here. Right now. How? I pulled my sleeve back, dragged a fingernail across my palm. Blood welled, red and bright. The wolves tensed, snarled. I'm bleeding, I said calmly. My power's active. I could claim every single one of you right now if I wanted to. I held up my hand, but I won't, because choice matters more than power, and I'd rather die proving that than live as the thing you fear. The leader stared at me, at my bleeding hand. You're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both, I smiled, tired, real. But I'm also very tired of people deciding what I am before they know me. So here's the deal. You can kill me. Prove that violence is the only answer. Or you can walk away. Prove. That choice still means something. And if we choose neither, then I guess we all stand here until someone gets bored. A laugh rippled through the crowd. Surprised, hesitant. The leader's expression shifted. You freed Mira Ashford. I did. After she tried to execute you. Seemed like the right thing to do. He studied me for a long moment. Then slowly he knelt. One by one, the wolves behind him did the same. 200 rogues, kneeling, not in submission, in respect. We choose peace, the leader said quietly, and we choose to see what kind of world a soul weaver like you creates. My knees wanted to buckle. I locked them. Thank you. He stood, extended a hand. I took it. No bond form, no power surge, just two people, making a choice. The army dispersed, slowly, peacefully, until only the leader remained. My name is Marcus, he said. Luca. I know. He glanced at the triplets. You're in good hands. Don't waste it. Then he was gone too. Silence settled, heavy, profound. Maverick was the first to speak. That was the most reckless, idiotic, brilliant thing I've ever seen. I try. Silas's hand found my shoulder. You're shaking. Adrenaline crash. I'll be fine. You will be, Adrian agreed. He stepped in front of me. Steel blue eyes, steady, unreadable. Because you just changed everything. Did I? Yes. For the first time since I'd met him, Adrian smiled. Small, genuine. You just proved that soul weavers don't have to be monsters. That choice can win over fear. The weight of it hit me all at once. I need to sit down. Later, Noah said, appearing at my side. First, we celebrate the fact that you didn't die. Fair point. We walked back toward the fortress. Together. The sun rose higher, warm on my face. And for the first time in days, I felt something close to hope. We made it halfway back to the fortress before my legs finally gave out. 1 second I was walking. The next, the world tilted sideways. Strong arms caught me before I hit the pavement. Maverick. His scent wrapped around me, leather and smoke, grounding and safe. I've got you, he murmured, lifting me like I weighed nothing. I can walk, I protested weakly. Sure you can. Right after you sleep for 12 hours and eat an actual meal. Bossy. Observant. His grin was warm against my temple. You just faced down 200 wolves on 0 sleep and pure spite. You've earned a break. Spite is underrated as a life force. Silas appeared on my other side, fingers gentle as they checked my pulse. Heart rate's elevated. You're crashing hard. Medical diagnosis. I'm a mess. Medical diagnosis. You're human, he corrected softly. And you just did something extraordinary. I talked. That's not extraordinary. You changed hearts, Noah said from behind us. That's about as extraordinary as it gets. Adrian walked ahead, phone pressed to his ear, voice low and clipped, handling the aftermath, always in control, always 3 steps ahead. We reached the fortress gates. They swung open silently. Inside, Ethan, Mara, and Cyrus waited, the 3 I'd accidentally claimed during the siege. They stood when they saw me, expressions uncertain. You're still here, I said, surprised. Where else would we be? Mara crossed her arms. You freed us, gave us the choice to leave. We chose to stay. Why? Ethan stepped forward. Because you're the first person who ever saw us as people instead of tools. We're not going anywhere. Something in my chest cracked open, warm and aching. Thank you, I whispered. Maverick carried me through the halls to a room I'd never seen. Larger than the cell, softer. Sunlight streaming through tall windows. A bed that looked like it could swallow me whole. He set me down gently. Rest. We'll handle everything else. I don't need to be coddled. Good thing this isn't coddling. This is basic human care. He straightened. Sleep, Luca. That's an order. You can't order me around. Watch me. I wanted to argue, wanted to stay awake and make sure this was real, that I was actually safe, actually free. But exhaustion pulled at me like a tide. Fine, I mumbled, already sinking into the mattress. But only because I'm choosing to. His laugh followed me into sleep. When I woke, the light had shifted. Late afternoon, maybe. The room was quiet except for soft breathing. Silas sat in a chair by the window reading. He looked up when I stirred, a small smile crossing his face. Welcome back. I pushed myself upright. My body ached, but the bone-deep exhaustion had eased. How long was I out? 6 hours. He set the book aside. How do you feel? Like I got hit by a truck, but a friendly truck, with good intentions. That's oddly specific. I'm oddly specific. I swung my legs off the bed, stood carefully. The world stayed steady. Progress. Where is everyone? Noah's in the guest wing, sleeping. Adrian and Maverick are dealing with council cleanup. Silas crossed to me. And I've been waiting for you to wake up. Why? Because we need to talk. His expression was serious, gentle. About what happens next. My stomach tightened. That sounds ominous. It's not, I promise. He gestured to the window. Walk with me? We walked through the fortress gardens. Quiet, green, the kind of peaceful that felt unreal after everything. You're free to go, Silas said finally. The council granted asylum, but you're not bound to us. You can leave whenever you want. Go back to your life, your apartment, your job. But we'd like you to stay. He stopped, turning to face me. Not as a prisoner, not as someone we're protecting, as someone we choose. And who chooses us? My breath caught. What are you saying? I'm saying we want you, Luca. All 3 of us. Not because fate decided, not because some bond forced it, because we've seen who you are, brave, stubborn, selfless to the point of stupidity. His mouth curved. And we don't want to lose that. You barely know me. We know enough. He stepped closer. We know you'd rather bleed than let others suffer. That you fight for choice even when it costs you everything. That you're sarcastic in the face of death and kind when no one's watching. You're making me sound better than I am. I'm making you sound exactly like you are. His hand lifted, hesitant. May I? I nodded. His palm cupped my face, warm and steady. We're not asking you to bond with us. Not yet. Maybe not ever, if that's what you choose. We're asking you to stay, to see what this could be, without pressure, without obligation. Just choice. Just choice, he echoed. Footsteps on the garden path. Adrian and Maverick appeared, both watching us with expressions I couldn't quite read. He's awake, Adrian observed. Very observant, I said. Did you go to detective school? Maverick's grin flashed. He's definitely feeling better. Adrian moved closer, steel blue eyes searching mine. Silas told you? That you want me to stay? Yeah, he mentioned it. And I looked at the three of them. So different. Adrian, all ice and control. Maverick, fire and protection. Silas, warmth and certainty. Together they felt like home. I have conditions, I said finally. Name them, Adrian replied. 1, I'm not anyone's pet omega. I make my own choices, always. Agreed. 2, Noah stays close. I'm not losing my brother, again.